we got to talk about first. Wow, it's not working on Twitter. Hold on.
Obo's a new one.
Yeah, very much so. Okay, now it should be good. All right. Wait for a couple people to roll in.
I wish that this would just work, man.
Sweet, that's good. All right. People are rolling in. What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you hopping on. Zay and I wanted to go live here for like 45-ish minutes just to answer some questions. I know a lot of people are confused about what's going on in the world, and we are hopping on right after a news break from, I think, Jordan Schultz that not only Greg Newsome could potentially be on the move, but Obo Okoronkwo. Zay, I don't know how you feel about that. That one kind of shocked me. I did not expect that when we talked about Greg Newsome. I did not expect Obo Okoronkwo to be in those talks.
Yeah, it's kind of out of left field, honestly. I was looking at his contract, and he's only making about $6 million per, but he's got about $13 million guaranteed. So I don't know if the contract plays plays into that at all.
Yeah.
But Obo's a guy that I just can't see getting moved for the simple fact of the draw that he has in the locker room. It's kind of like Greg Newsome.
Yeah.
When you talk about energy guys, you talk about guys that bring that certain level of competitiveness, just that chemistry. He's a great chemistry guy.
Yeah.
I don't see him being moved, and we've seen him have, success in this defense. So it would be kind of shocking to see him get moved. I think the big question for me is, what exactly are these packages that these two are dealt with?
I don't know. I would venture to guess that it's like, if we've talked about it a couple of times, we both don't think it's going to take a player to move up. Like, we don't think that's going to happen. We don't think they're going to need that. We don't think a player is going to be a necessity to move up in this draft, but it would probably sweeten a deal and it would incentivize a deal. So, like, I don't know. Like, I think it could happen. I think it's real, but my mind immediately went to the number 2 pick with this stuff. Cause like, part of the reason people were straying away from Abdul Carter was because it's not a need. If you move Obo Okoronkwo, it becomes more of a need. I don't think they're going to go anybody but Travis Hunter at 2. I'm sure you're on the same page. But does that make you feel any type of way, change your mind at all about number 2?
No, I think if anything, it plays more into the rumor where they trade back into the later round of the first round to take a quarterback.
I think they're going to.
Yeah, whether it's Jackson Dart, whether it's Shedeur Sanders, I think it's a matter of seeing who's going to fall to the spot where they're looking to go at.
Yeah.
Unless we see some fireworks happen in this draft, it all signs point to them moving back into the first round, like I've been suspecting for a while now.
Yeah, I wonder who it is. There's so much Jackson Dart smoke today. Have you seen all that?
Yeah, I think I've seen them. They won't make it past 9.
Yeah, and then the Giants apparently had settled on him as their quarterback. Again, this is all from sources, but like, I don't know. Everything points to Shedeur Sanders falling in the draft, and honestly, if he is the Browns guy, so be it. Like, let him keep falling to us. Maybe we won't have to trade up to get him. That would be nice. But like, everything just points to Shedeur Sanders. So the Browns trading back in, but Shedeur Sanders, like everything points there. I don't know.
I just can't believe we're at this point where it's like, how did he get from top 2 pick to potentially being a second round guy? Like, I'm not buying scouts finally realized that he's not worth the first round pick. I just don't buy that. I think there's something else that we're not seeing.
What could it be though? Like, what
is character issues? The character issues?
Yeah.
But like, that's gonna tank a guy's stock that much? I don't know.
Do you think it could be something else?
I think the biggest thing is just his name.
You think so?
Yeah, I think people are scared of his name. I think this is one of those things where like, but what's weird about all of this is I seen a post this morning. I think they just dropped it that he's already on a Gatorade commercial.
Yeah.
Like, he has every tool to be a face of a friend. You know what I mean? Like a face of the league, a face of someone that you can go to and be like, this is a guy. If they're already doing all these promotions and stuff, like, I don't know. I really don't know what it could be. I'm just baffled that it was top 2 pick to late in the first round.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, it's so crazy to me that like he has always been on the Browns' radar. Even at number 2, like we had debated number 2, him or Travis Hunter for a long time, or Abdul Carter too, but like a long, long time. And all of a sudden, he's falling. It's character stuff, it's on-field stuff. But I think we're both in the same boat where we would love the Browns to trade back in for a quarterback. Shedeur Sanders could be that guy. And the way it looks right now, that's a very real possibility. And I know we've predicted it, talked about the mock trades. The Denver Broncos at 20, that's the one I'm staring at. And we talked about it a bunch, the possibility of that trading back in. You can't discount the prior relationship you have trading with the team too. Like you've already traded with the front office in Denver. It felt like a mutually beneficial deal, right? Was it? I don't know. I'd rather have Jerry Jeudy, but like it happened. You've traded with them. I don't know. It's real. I don't know.
It feels like this. Like I'm looking at the Browns draft picks. They've got one in the first, one in the second, two in the third, and one in the fourth. It feels like one of those third round picks are going to get moved. There's so much top heavy talent in this draft.
Yeah.
I think there's probably multiple players that Andrew Berry loves in this draft, and I just go back to Jimmy Haslam saying that they have to be aggressive and they have to hit on this draft. If whether they trade back into the first round or whether they trade back into the second round, these are not the set picks in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see something. We're gonna see a splash, and as the weeks gone on, as the days passed, I'm kind of bought into Jalen Milroe.
Really?
Like, if it's not Shedeur, I think I would much rather have Jalen Milroe than any of the other quarterbacks.
Wow. Is it like an upside thing?
It's the upside thing. It's the Lamar Jackson effect. We're moving into a league now where running the ball is so valuable at the quarterback position.
Yep.
And you mix that with the Tommy Reese connection. You mix that with the fact that Kevin Stefanski's supposed to be a quarterback guru. Like, if it doesn't, the only thing that scares me, we talked about this on the show this past week, it scares me as if they fail and then the regime that drafted him.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Hold on, you're muted.
I love the fact that. Oh yeah, someone was calling. My bad.
No, you're good.
I just love the upside that you can get because it's got a lot of Lamar Jackson-esque feel to it.
Yeah, there's nobody in the draft, like no quarterback, that can impact a game like that. Maybe Cam Ward, but there's no quarterback that can impact the game like that. If he winds up in the right spot with the right coaches, you can't teach the raw athleticism. You can always improve as a passer, especially mentally, the processing side of things. You can improve. Some people improve easier than others. Some people improve better but you can always improve. However, I don't know. Like, it's so fascinating to me, all of this Jackson Dart smoke. And he's a good player. And it's like he like kind of reminds me of Mini Flacco. I'm not going to lie. Like Joe Flacco, whether he can or can't at 40 years old, he thinks he can make every throw. And he's going to try to make every throw. We saw it in 2023 with the stupid interceptions. We've seen it past couple years before that, even last year in Indianapolis. Like, he still thinks he can make every throw. Whether he can or can't is another story. Jackson Dart's the same way. Like, he's going to stand in the pocket, not care as much as a lot of other quarterbacks would about like footwork and, not throwing off one foot, like things like that. But he's going to try to make every throw, and he's got talent to make a lot of those throws. And I think that's the Stefanski guy. Like, I think it's the gunslinger. I think it's the guy who can make every throw, but isn't asked to do too much. Jackson Dart's going to try to do a lot. He's going to try to make every throw, but he's not going to be asked like Jalen Milroe to ad lib, to make all these plays. So I think like if they drafted Jalen Milroe, they'd have to change the scheme up. I don't know if Stefanski wants to do that.
I don't know if he does either, but I also think that what comes into play in this, which is why it's kind of hard seeing the Shedeur Sanders thing. Why I'm still stuck on him bringing both Colorado boys back, but I think they are afraid of the pressure that comes with it. You know what I mean? Like, who puts the most pressure on them if Joe Flacco has a few bad weeks in a row? Or, you know what I mean? Like, is it Jackson Dart? Is it Jalen Milroe? We know that Shedeur Sanders is going to probably be the top of the list when it comes to that, but I just don't see a world where you bring Flacco back and it completely fails. I think
Yeah.
we're talking about a situation where you have to move on from Flacco only if he gets injured, or I mean, what's it going to take for him to get replaced? How
I don't
many
know.
weeks in a row?
I don't know. Like it's the previous success has to be like a subconscious thing in Stefanski's mind, everybody's mind in the Browns offense. Like knowing Flacco's done it before has to matter, right? Like that has to matter to them. And you probably get a little more leeway thinking, okay, yeah, maybe it takes a little bit of growing into the system. This guy came in last year and was good enough in 6 weeks. We'll give him that leash. But I don't know. I think the most interesting hypothetical was, and this isn't going to happen, like the Titans are picking at one, was if Cam Ward came in and we hesitated a little bit. We're like, does he start? Does he start? Does he sit behind Flacco? Is he good enough to just start? But there's no quarterback, I think, outside of Cam Ward that would even warrant us to hesitate. Like Flacco's the guy, and you want somebody to sit behind him. It's just a matter of who you want it to be. So you think it's going to be Shador? Like if
I'm
you
riding
had
my
to
gut.
guess,
I mean, it makes the most sense on every aspect, other than the fact that the pressure would be there week
yeah.
in and week out to get him in. You're gonna sell major amounts of tickets. Jersey sales are gonna be crazy.
Yep.
You have your quarterback of the future. He's already the most pro ready now. You give him an opportunity to do what you've wanted to do for as long as I've been alive, which is bring a quarterback in, let him sit for a year, and then bring him in when it's time to bring him in. You don't have to throw him in. The thing that worries me the most about it is, will this end up as another Brian Hoyer, Johnny Manziel situation though?
It could.
Let's not forget, Brian Hoyer started out that year 7-4, and then 2 weeks in a row, or whatever it was 2 or 3 weeks in a row, he starts to go south, and then that Haslam thrusted his way in and forcing Johnny Manziel. And has he learned from his mistakes, or would he let it? Would he see? Was got to see it through, my boy? Will he see it
Yeah.
through? So I don't know.
You know what? You know where my mind just went? Remember the quote that he said? Like, well, you obviously remember the quote, but the timing of the quote, like the big swing and a miss with the Sean Watson thing. And this was after Myles Garrett got signed. I think it was after. Like, I think he is learning from his mistakes. I think that
Mhm.
the clues are there. That is crazy. Well, we'll talk quarterback a little bit more later. I want to talk non-quarterbacks because, like, at the end of the day, the Browns need offensive help in the running back room. They need offensive help. Well, they don't really need help in the tight end room, but they could use some tight end depth. They need some wide receiver help. We're on the same page as Hunter at 2, so we don't really need to talk about the wide receivers as much right now. But running backs, your mocks, you talked about Scatabo, you talked about Quinshaw Judkins. Is your mind still like one of those middle, like let's say like late second, early third guys, or are you thinking Omarion Hampton, Travion Henderson a little earlier?
I think it really depends. It's weird because we play this hypothetical. My hypothetical all lies on if they trade back up into 2,
Okay.
or trade back in to get Shador. So like, if they don't trade back up into 2 or into the first round to take Shador, I feel like they're going to take a jump at one of these. Like, let's just play a couple of the mock drafts I've done. Amarion Hampton somehow falls to 33.
I think he could. Yeah.
And if he falls there at 33, I think that's where we're talking about, again, one of those third round picks being moved back into the second round, and maybe taking a defensive guy, maybe that, or maybe there's a receiver that fell a little bit further down, maybe a tackle that was, ranked in the back half of the first round is their mid second to late second round. That's a prime. It's just, I think a lot of this falls on, once we get past what I'd say 21, the Pittsburgh Steelers pick, will they
Yeah.
trade up any higher to get Shador? I don't think Shador's falling further than that.
No, I think the projection right now, I think it's 20 and a half, meaning like this, like, is he going to get picked before or after the Steelers? So that is where it lies.
So I think that's the prime position to see what we really need to be focusing on for the Browns, because like I said, I think they're going to move up and get one of these guys now. If you could get Junkins in that third round, you don't have to move, right?
Yeah.
But he's probably going to be gone before that.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if he's going to. Like, everything I've been seeing about the running backs, it's obviously Genty 1. And then it's back and forth between Hampton and Travion Henderson 2 and 3. Then it's kind of a crapshoot. Like, you don't know. What I've also seen is that, like, the big run, at least positionally, that people are thinking at the, I guess, like end of 1, early 2 is receiver. And my guess is that'll go from day 1 to day 2, like the late 20s into the late 30s. But offensive line, like everybody's saying, interior offensive line, that this is the draft for it. You got to get your guards, your centers. Obviously, the Browns are not going to do that. But if this is the draft for it, that may play into the Browns' hands where teams are going to be more aggressively taking guards, taking centers, and those running backs will slide. Those quarterbacks could slide. Like, I think the Browns are going to be in a spot where a guy they want slides, whether it's sliding to 33 and they don't even have to trade up. I don't think they're going to run that risk. Like, I think they're going to do what they can to get back into one, but maybe sliding to 67. I don't know. Like, I think the Browns, I think somebody they want is going to slide to them because there's going to be a run on positions the Browns don't really need. Obviously, they need receiver, but they're going to take Hunter. So, like, I don't know. All the big quote unquote strengths of this draft are not real Browns needs. You know what I mean?
I think the other thing I'm having a question on besides the running back is, like, we know that they view Travis Hunter as the receiver.
Yep.
As a receiver first. Are they still going to look to make another receiver splash? Because that's been a thing that he does every year where he's it's come in form of a trade. Are they going to look at one of these guys again and go another receiver in this draft? Or would that be a 5th, 6th round type of thing and they won't waste another draft pick on a guy in the 3rd round?
I find it so hard to believe it'd be early. Like, I find it so hard to believe it'd be with one of their first 3, maybe 4 picks. But I don't know. Like, they need – I hate to keep coming back to draft needs because a lot of teams don't really draft. Like, you draft for the best player available. If it fits a need, it fits a need. And obviously, teams picking at the top who need quarterbacks are going to take quarterbacks. But they need it so bad. They need wide receivers so bad. And Travis Hunter's very good, and he's going to start at receiver. Like, we all know this. But they need somebody so bad. They need a round 4 guy, a round 5 guy to come in and be a depth piece. Like, they are – let's think about the receivers on the roster, the active roster right now. You got Judy Tillman. Let's just say for all intents and purposes, going to be Travis Hunter. You got Jamari Thrash. You got DeAndre Carter, who's more of a return guy, right?
David Bell should be back too, right?
David Bell should be back. So you know what? Maybe we are not overlooking, but kind of overthinking the receiver room. Michael Woods is on the roster, so that's 6. Caden Davis, that's 7. I mean, you could probably find some upgrades, but like, you take 7 receivers with you to camp, and they're going to take Hunter. They're going to bring some undrafted guys in. Like, they're going to give themselves a chance to find the best receivers on their roster. So I think they do take at least one more.
Where do they – so we've been so focused on offense. Are we going to be blindsided and they go defense early? Like, is that a possibility for them to be like, hey, 32, this guy's here. Let's just take a defensive guy.
You know what? I was just on Down with the Browns, and I gave them this scenario. So the trade up, we know for a fact that there are offers the Browns have made to teams to trade up. Like, we know this. The Browns are trying to trade up. The quote was likely for a quarterback. We don't know 100% if it's for a quarterback. What if, and let me say this first. I don't think they should do this, but they could do this. What if they traded up thinking, okay, our quarterback, let's say it's Will Howard. Somebody like late 3rd, early 4th is there for us. We know he's going to be there. If we have to maneuver to get up a little bit later, we can. What if we move up because we know we have the ammo to do it for one of the edge rushers? There are some really good edge rushers from like 16 to 24. One of those guys, or safety. Safety is a big need. Like, it's a huge need.
Mm-hmm.
Edge rushers, it helps. Those are the types of players you take in the first round or 2. And if they have to trade Obo to get, like, what if they traded Obo to, like, let's say, I guess this is kind of backwards thinking, but like, let's say they traded Obo to a team that needs an edge rusher, right? A win now team that needs an edge rusher, like Detroit picking at 27, I believe, around there. Like, whatever, like, okay, you can take Obo Okoronkwo, but we want this pick and we can swap whatever. We want to get up and get a younger edge rusher on a rookie deal. That could happen. A safety, that could be too. Like, to me, I hate to say it because I love Greg Newsome. I love Obo, but like, I think one of them is going to get traded, if not both. It makes too much sense, especially because the Browns really want to trade up. Again, we are on the same page. We don't think the Browns need to include, but they probably will. It'll sweeten the deal.
I'm not in the world where I want to get rid of neither one. I just, I think it depends on who falls.
So, like, Shedeur is a player you trade up for, obviously.
Yeah.
Trying to think what is a player that like you'd be willing to part ways with one of those other guys. I don't know if there is.
I think I like that safety from South Carolina. I do like him if he can play in that. But see, I think if they trade Greg Newsome, that's an indication that Travis Hunter is playing both sides.
Yeah. It's just a matter of how, like, what the role will be, like what like the sub package or nickel role. Because Travis Hunter is not an every down. Well, he could be. He says he is, but he's not going to play in the slot inside every down. That's not happening. Like that. Andrew Berry will probably be the first to tell you that's not happening. But if he thinks he can be an outside guy, I you know what's crazy? We've talked about so much about the Greg Newsome trade, and this kind of it doesn't really matter as much now because Newsome and Obo have been like presented available for trade, all this stuff. Like, why are we not talking as much about Martin Emerson being traded instead of Newsome? Because, like, I look at Emerson and Hunter's games, and on the defensive side of the ball, I think Emerson's a little more physically imposing, but it's similar. They're longer outside guys who can take away a backside, who are your number 2 corner, take away a backside. Greg Newsome provides a lot of value inside in the slot, and I don't know if you can just easily replicate that. Like, that's hard to find.
I'm wondering why they haven't tried to move Martin Emerson into that slot position instead of Greg Newsome on the outside, because when Greg Newsome was on with me, he talked about how the biggest change was just the physicality aspect of playing in the slot. You having to be a little bit more stronger, tackling more and all this stuff. When I think Martin Emerson he's more physical. He is bigger. He's not afraid to go make a tackle. Like it would almost, you would move Emerson into the slot, and then you let Travis Hunter have his island. You got Denzel Ward having his island. Yeah. I think the thing with Martin Emerson is still the contract issue. Like, he's got, 2 more years on his rookie deal, if I'm not mistaken?
Martin Emerson has, 2 more years. He was wait, let me look.
Because he's going to get paid.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, so he's got this year, and he's unrestricted after this season. So I could have sworn he was with Newsome. I think they picked up the 5th-year option for Newsome, correct?
Oh, wow. Yeah, he's unrestricted next year.
So, like, I don't understand why that is not more of a conversation, to be honest with you. Like, I actually, you know what? I don't know who I'd rather have on my team, Newsome, Emerson. I don't know, honestly. They give you 2 different things, but that's a great point on moving Martin Emerson on the inside, because you're right, he's more physical. I just think Greg Newsome has a better nose in the run game. Like, I think Greg Newsome as a nickel backer, and not nickel, like nickel Sam type, even though he's lighter physically, he has such great instincts. Like, he can play on the inside in a nickel package on second and long, and they could try to throw some at you, throw a change up and run the ball, and you would feel comfortable enough with him in there. Like, I don't know. I would hate to see him go because he's found a role in the slot and he gives you so many other things.
I like Newsome better out on the outside. That's where he loves to play. Like, I think we forget that his rookie year, he was an outside guy.
He was, yeah.
He tied with pass deflections with Denzel Ward. He was the best cornerback from that draft his rookie year. Well, obviously now that we've seen other players surpass that because he moved into the slot. But Emerson was a outside guy. I think the thing that hinders him the most is his height. But I'm kind of shell shocked. I thought we had Emerson for 2 more years. I wonder if this is almost like if they're almost like not banking on Newsome or Emerson to have like a kind of, I don't want to say another down year because last year was a really bad year for him.
Yeah, it was.
But I think they'd be ready to pay Martin Emerson more because, or I I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to word this because I think I'm twisting myself up.
Mm.
Greg Newsome's going to get paid as a wide receiver one, or he's going to get outside wide receiver money. I think that's going to play into his negotiation, saying that, hey, I'm not really an inside guy. My best ball has come from when I've played on the outside. There's going to be teams out there that will pay Martin Emerson CB1 money. Now, I'm not going to say he's going to warrant $20 million per year, but you're talking about 17, 16 mil per for a team. Now, it's probably not on a winning team,
Yeah.
but I could see that happening. Do they think Emerson is going to garnish more than that?
The only thing is, like, I don't know if Newsome's best year was his rookie year. I think it was 2023. I think he was better. I know he said he is an outside guy and he wants to play out there. From what I saw from, the primarily in outside roles, his rookie year, 22 and 23, I believe. She was drafted in 20. What year is he drafted?
2020.
2020. Okay, so maybe I'm missing a year. So there's probably a year that I'm missing in my head. But watching him 2020, 2021.
Or 2021 is when he got drafted.
Okay, so I'm good. So 21 and 22. Like, obviously the rookie year was great with Newsome and he played well on the outside the first year. Second year, you had question marks, and question marks to the point where Martin Emerson began to have a little bit more of a role. 23, you said, okay, Emerson, you go outside, Newsome playing the slot. I thought Newsome was exceptional in 2023. I thought he was an unbelievable player, but that was primarily in the slot. And you know what? I hate to keep going back to like one game when we talk about Greg Newsome, but it's engraved in my memory, and it's going to happen when like smaller corners play bigger, more dominant outside guys. But like
the Broncos.
Getting torched by Courtland Sutton. And that was, Courtland Sutton had like 3 or 4 catches. But like you watch the film and it's like this guy, Greg Newsome on the outside, it's the size. It can't like consistently hang with them. And that's not a fault of Greg Newsome's. He had to play because it was Emerson or Ward. Somebody was out. He had to play because somebody was out. Like
it was Ward.
It was Ward. Like that's not him. Like that's not Newsome, at least in my mind. And maybe it can be, but I worry about the size sometimes. So I don't know. I like Greg Newsome a lot. I don't want to see him traded. I think he is a very, very important piece to this Browns team. But the reality is it's a reality. The reality is him getting traded is a reality. It could happen. But yeah, to go back to the question, we just had a long 5-minute talk about Greg Newsome and Martin Emerson. I wouldn't be like blindsided if they went defense the first couple rounds, but I don't think they should or will.
What if they're just like putting all of their capital into the first 2 rounds?
They could.
Like they trade both of their 3rd round picks. They go quarterback, or they go Travis Hunter at 2, trade back into the 1st round, get themselves a quarterback, and then the 2nd round is their money round, and then we don't see another pick until the 4th round.
It could happen. It could happen. And the thing is, like, they could do that, like invest some capital, and then when they go trade, if they do trade Obo and Newsome, like get 2nd, 3rd round picks as a result. Like,
would you be okay with that? Now here's the hypothetical that I may be okay with, because we know the talent in this draft. If you could garnish a 2nd round pick or let's just say a 2nd round pick for Newsome and a 3rd round pick for Obo, is that something you'd be okay with doing? Obviously, you'd probably get a little bit more, or you probably trade. You've got like 4 6th round picks. It'd probably be a Newsome, a 6th, get a 2nd, and maybe a 4th or 5th. And then Obo will be like a 3rd and I don't know what, a 3rd and a 5th.
See, I am more enticed by that and a pick swap. So like moving up, let's say 15 spots in, maybe it's a lot to ask, but day 2. Like if they could get a day 2 pick and move up in day 2, that would be I would feel comfortable trading Obo Okoronkwo, because I like the edge rusher depth in this draft class. Like I think you can get somebody who can step into that role. Let's be real. Like Obo's a great player, but playing on the other side of Myles Garrett, he takes a lot off your plate. Like the protection's going to slide his way. The attention is going to go to him. Like edge rushers will be in a better situation there than they would be just on a normal defensive line. You can get more out of those guys. Like I don't know. It's tough because like Newsome is going to get paid, and I don't think the Browns can afford to keep him. So like you want to leverage what you can get with Newsome, but I would want him on my roster more than I'd want Obo Okoronkwo on my roster right now, especially with the defensive line room the Browns have. The Browns have a good defensive line room right now.
That's what I was wondering. Does the addition of Julian Okoro,
Yeah.
Okora and Joe Tyrone have any play into this? Like, is there? I think when you talk about Obo, speed is one thing that comes with it. That's what Joe's all about. He's quick off the edge. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, is it a wash there in their mind? Cheaper as well.
Yeah. He reminds me a lot of Obo. Like, that's why I think Obo could go, because it's the contract. It's potentially keeping
Obo can go.
I know. And it's like, it's so tough because you have a blueprint for what worked literally 2 years ago, less than 2 years ago. And I think the loss of Dalvin Tomlinson's pretty big. Like, I think that's an important piece that you got to figure out. And I think losing Zadarius Smith is big too. But the Browns have drafted pretty well in the defensive line. They've gotten some good depth over the past year or two. This past offseason, it was very clearly a priority. But, like, I don't know. It's so tough parting ways with players, just in general. It doesn't even matter offense, defense, that have succeeded in your system. That's why I find it so hard to trade Greg Newsome. And I think there's going to be a lot of teams who want Greg Newsome, especially teams who probably have a little bit more money, who would be more inclined to pay him and give him an extension. Because I think when Greg Newsome gets traded, he's going to get extended pretty quickly. Like, I think that's going to happen. I'm going to look up some of the cap space numbers right now, just to see if there's any teams that, like, would make more sense. Like,
he's going to get paid probably. Like, if he gets traded, he's probably signing an extension the second that happens.
The mock, my Loeb's Leeds mock draft, I had him getting traded to Tampa. Tampa's top 10 in cap space. They need corner really bad. I actually don't know if he'd fit that scheme super well, but that they need corner so bad. Dallas, I could see, maybe not. Vegas would be, Vegas needs corner help really bad. Detroit also, and Detroit and Vegas, man-heavy teams that would probably benefit Newsome.
Didn't they just pay Jeff like $86 billion though?
Oh, the Lions?
Yeah.
They just pay Kirby Joseph. Yeah, but he's a safety, and that was coming. But they have money, and they're looking at next year. I actually know what Detroit wouldn't make sense because they're going to have to extend like Laporta and Gibbs and all those guys. Looking at 26, there's the Raiders with a lot of money again. They're not going to trade him to Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh's got a lot of money next year. Not going to trade him to Cincy, probably. The Rams, maybe. I don't know. I honestly, I think Vegas if they do, but Tampa, I don't know. It's so tough. Like I said, to trade players that have worked. Like, why? I understand why you do it, but mentally, you're like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
I'm wondering what Jim Schwartz has to say about this. Like, he's going to get himself a pick. Like, yes. Or he's going to have a huge sway in what they do. Is there a guy in mind that they have? Like, this is probably the most interesting draft the Browns have had, probably since that number 1 overall pick with Baker Mayfield and Denzel Ward and Nick Chubb the following round. Like, it's almost like history is repeating itself with the Cleveland Browns organizations every few years. You think back to the year why I even came up to this is when they traded back in to get David Njoku. They had 3 first-round picks.
Yeah.
It almost feels like we're back in that matrix where it's like, this is the year where they're going to do something that fans are going to love. Regardless of the players that they pick, the aggressiveness behind it, they're not just going to take a guy. I had a dream last night. It was so weird, the dream that I had, because 2nd overall pick, I'm like, oh, we're getting hyped up. And next thing you know, it was like Jackson Baxter, cornerback out of something. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, I don't think we're going to be shocked with a name that hasn't been tied to us. When we're drafting in these first few rounds, they're going to be high quality names. They're going to be huge impact guys, and they're going to have tremendous ceilings. And I just think it's that time for the Browns to do it now, because you mix that with Brook Park around the horizon. You have to have your foundation set going into Brook Park.
Yeah, and I think it's Travis Hunter. I think it's a quarterback. It's a young quarterback. It might be both the Colorado boys. So we'll finish. You think, and I'm with you, that it's both Colorado guys. And I think if the Browns like Shedeur, that's who they're going to trade up for. Is there any specific player you also have your eye on for the Browns to get? Let's say like day 2, like second, third round.
Yep. The tight end out of Bowling Green.
Harold Fannin.
Yep. I think either him or who's the other guy? Is it from Iowa or Michigan?
The tight end.
Yeah, there's another guy that was really good. That's a later round pick in the tight end position. Who is
I love Terrence Ferguson. He's out of Oregon.
Ferguson, that's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Terrence Ferguson's a good player. Honestly, more of like a detached big receiver than a tight end, but he's a tight end. I like Ferguson a lot.
I think tight end is a position just for the fact that I think David Njoku ultimately should retire at Cleveland Brown. I think he's pretty much stamped that he wants to. He's a Brown through and through.
Yeah.
But I also think that this is a business at the end of the day, and it's never going to hurt to have that insurance. And if Kevin Stefanski's taking the wheel again, we know how much he loves his tight ends. We talk about Harrison Bryant being utilized to the maximum.
Yep.
Is Akins back this year? I don't know if Akins is back this year.
No, he's not.
So knowing that he's not back, they need another tight end. So I think a big tight end name is in play for the Browns.
I love it. I think it's going to be day 2 probably. I'm with you. We are going to hop off, guys. Zay will be live posting stuff from the stadium. I will be at the Big Play draft party, but we're going to have content on wherever you're watching this right now. So we will see you guys soon. We'll keep you posted on all this content. Any final words, Zay, before we hop off?
I just want to read Hallie's comment real quick. So I remember, I don't know if it was you or someone else, but it was Nick. Nick posted it plus 1,200.
Yep.
To get both Shedeur and Hunter. It's all the way down to plus 240.
Crazy.
Follow the Vegas lines. Follow the money. That could be a super possibility. So just know, don't stop believing. This could be the year where the Browns finally get together. And also, stay tuned for the winner of the jerseys because we're giving away 2 of them for y'all getting us to 1,000 on Twitter. So we appreciate it.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you guys watching. We will see you next time. If you've seen this before the draft too, make sure to leave a comment, any questions you have that we can answer throughout the day today. We'll see you guys soon.